Mind-blowing. Shocking reasons the Queen's coffin was lead-lined requires 8 people to carry. The reason behind the Queen's lead-lined coffin is a little more grisly than you might imagine. Queen Elizabeth II will be laid to rest on Monday, September 19th, within the King George VI Memorial Chapel in Windsor Castle, as the nation prepares to bid farewell to its longest-serving monarch. No expenses have been spared for this final send-off, but why is her coffin lead-lined and how much does it weigh? Her coffin was moved several times ahead of the date. Firstly, when a funeral cortege took the monarch's body from Balmoral to Edinburgh in a solemn procession last Sunday. The coffin rested at St Giles Cathedral in the Scottish capital overnight, before being flown down to London to Buckingham Palace. The Queen's coffin is lined with lead, following a royal tradition dating back to the Victorian era, where it was necessary to seal bodies for resting above ground. Elizabeth I was buried in a wooden lead-lined coffin in 1603. The lead helps to preserve the body for up to a year by slowing the decomposition process. It makes the coffin airtight, preventing moisture from entering and ensuring that the smell of toxins from the body does not escape and harm the environment. This is an important step in the process for royals lying in state, as people filter through to pay their final respects. It is also necessary for interment burials, likely for the Queen, who is being laid to rest in the King George VI Memorial Chapel in Windsor Castle. She will be reunited with her late husband, Prince Philip, who is also buried in a lead-lined coffin. Matthew Lim Rose, managing director of A.W. Lim, the family funeral service, told iNews, "Most people are buried underground. If you have a coffin vault or a family chamber in a church, then that coffin remains above ground and open to the elements. A sealed coffin is very important." The casket was made by specialist firm Henry Smith 3 decades ago. The same company made Philip's coffin and several celebrities, including Freddie Mercury and Jimi Hendrix, but closed for business in 2005. London firm Leverton & Sons took over responsibility for royal funerals, but several details of the coffin were lost. Andrew Leverton, who runs the family business, told The Times in 2018, "It is made from English oak, which is very difficult to get a hold of. Oak coffins are now made from American oak. I don't think we could use English oak for a coffin now. It would be too expensive." There's 142 Royal Navy sailors pulling the coffin for over a mile to a hearse at Wellington Arch. With it only taking 8 people to physically carry it, it begs the question, how heavy is the Queen's coffin? According to the BBC, sitting atop the Queen's coffin lies the royal standard, the imperial state crown, the sovereign's orb and sceptre, and a wreath made up of flowers and foliage chosen by the King. Said floral arrangement, which consists of hydrangea, roses, dahlias, sedum, scabious, and pelargoniums, was picked from Buckingham Palace, Clarence House, and Highgrove. Myrtle, rosemary, a symbol of remembrance, and English oak, a symbol of strength, were two featured in the meaningful arrangement. But, of course, the weightiness of the coffin has nothing to do with what was draped over it. As detailed by Express, the English oak coffin itself is estimated to weigh at least 550 pounds and up to 700 pounds. But why? Well, it's lined with lead, which has been a royal tradition since the Victorian era, back in the 1800s. Sealing a body airtight inside a coffin was important for above-ground resting.